Yes, hello and welcome or welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. I am of course Mr. Francy, and I'm truly honoured that you've once again chosen to join me today as we go through my October wrap part 2. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to the channel. Great to have your company as always, my beautiful sparklers. But for those of you who are new, in February of this year I placed a cozy mystery embargo on myself. What that meant was that all I was reading was cozy mysteries. That did change for the month of October, and so I went back to mixing up my genres again. Owing to this, in part 1 of my October wrap-up, I talked about all the books that I read that were not cozy mysteries. In this part 2, I am going to be talking about all the cozy mysteries that I did read. I do recommend watching both because it will give you a deeper understanding of how my month actually went. I also am doing this monthly wrap in order of the books that I read, because I read all the non-cozy mystery books first and then ended the month with my cozies. But here we are to talk about the cozy mysteries that I read in the month of October 2025. I did say I was going to put the stats, to say the stats at the start of this video, but I'm going to hold off from that to not waste any time so we can jump right in and spend more time talking about the books. So let's do it. So the first cozy mystery that I read in the month of October 2025 was this book, Mrs. Morris and the Mermaid by Tracy Wilton. This is actually book number 8 in the Salem B&B Cozy Mystery series, and yeah, I love this series. So the basic, and I gave this book 5 stars. So the basic series premise setup for this one is that we follow Charlene, aka Mrs. Morris, who runs a B&B in Salem in Massachusetts with her cat Silver and cook Minnie and house ghost Jack. Now, in this book, 2 actresses, 2 movies, 1 original and 1 reboot, both about mermaids. Now, both actresses are coming to town for the Mermaid Parade. However, when the original actress doesn't arrive on time for her float, Mrs. Morris is sent to find her. When she does, it's to find the original actress dead. But who killed her and why? So to my thoughts, I really enjoyed this one, as I normally do. All the books I've read in this particular series I've either given 5 or 4 stars to, but this one just felt even more like coming home. I always loved my time with Mrs. Morris and her ghost Jack, and the mystery was super compelling in this particular book. I did solve the mystery before the reveal. I was correct with the person, but not the motivation. Not much else to say other than that, but I cannot wait to read the next book in the series, and again, I gave this one 5 stars. So the next cozy that I read in the month of October was this book, A Knight's Tale by Sophie Kelly. This is book number 11 in the Magical Cats Cozy Mystery series, and I also gave this one 5 stars, although I am bumping up the rating from 4 to 5 stars, purely owing to how this particular book ended. So the series premise of this one is that we follow Kathleen Paulson, a librarian from Maryville Heights in Minnesota. Alongside her magical cats Owen and Hercules, Kathleen solves mysteries that come up. Now, that is Owen and that is Hercules. Now, in this book, Kathleen's brother Ethan has come to Maryville Heights with his band. One night while at a bar, a man is seen kicking a service dog. Later on, the man is found dead, but is there a connection? So to my thoughts, I really enjoyed this book. I think it's mainly because I wasn't actively trying to solve the mystery as I normally would. I just read the book and enjoyed the flow. I love Owen and Hercules so much, and Kathleen as a main character is fun to follow. It was nice to have Ethan, Kathleen's brother, in this book and to meet his bandmates. All in all, the book itself was good, but the ending brought a shift to the series arc as a whole, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, so something that Kathleen has kind of been dealing with for the series up until this point on her own, she brought someone else into at the end of this book, and I can say that without spoiling anything. And yeah, it was fantastic to see her open up and actually have this discussion that needed to be had, and just made my day. I absolutely love this series, and I do want to continue on with Sophie Kelly's book She Writes, another series under a different pen name, but it's the Second Chance Cat series, and I would like to read that one next year. But yeah, this is book 11 of 16 that are out at the moment, so yeah, I don't know if I'll have the series finished or up to date by the end of this year, but even if I don't, I will be incredibly close, and I'm having an absolute blast with it so far. So 5 stars for this one. The next cozy mystery that I read was this book, The Silence of the Flans by Laura Bradford. This is book number 2 in the Emergency Dessert Squad cozy mystery series, and I gave this book 4 stars. This book and this series is a trilogy read-along that I am doing, co-hosting alongside my dear friend Jessica. Her booktube channel is Lady Lovestead Reads. She also has a Discord called The Lovestead. My Discord that is connected to this channel, Mr. Francy Reads, is called the Sparkle Cafe. So we have come together to create the Sparklestead Productions, and Sparklestead Productions are doing a trilogy read-along of this series, The Emergency Dessert Squad, and I'm absolutely loving this series so far. Now, the series premise of this one is that we follow Winnie Johnson, who runs an on-the-road dessert company called the Emergency Dessert Squad that caters to dessert emergencies. Now, in this book, after delivering a blueberry crisp to an RA when her client isn't in her dorm room, Winnie reflects on how much she loves this on-the-road business. That is until her client ends up dead, poisoned by Winnie's blueberry crisp. It makes no sense though. How did the woman die from her crisp? And also, why is everyone calling it a blueberry pie? Don't they know the difference? Winnie needs to solve this case if she's going to clear not only her name, but also her business. So to my thoughts, and Laura Bradford is the coziest author I have ever read from. I really enjoyed her Friend for Hire duology and the first 2 books in this series for the same reason. She writes kind-hearted characters with a plot that is cozier than any other cozy I've ever read. For that reason, I plan to continue reading from Laura Bradford's works. In saying that, I didn't really enjoy the mystery in this one. There was a vital clue that came up towards the end that I didn't appreciate, but even then, once the reveal was made, it felt rather messy, and therefore I sadly did dock a star. But in saying that though, the book still deserves a solid 4-star rating. Really enjoyed the coziness of it, and cannot wait to get on to book number 3, even though it does come with the caveat that the series will be over once I finish book number 3. At least I think it will be anyway. But yeah, 4 stars for this one. I do highly recommend it. If an Emergency Dessert Squad sounds fun to you for a cozy read, then I highly, highly recommend this series. And if you are looking for a really cozy type of cozy mystery series, then you really can't go past Laura Bradford. I've only read her Pen for Hire duology and the first 2 books in this series, and if you pick up either of them, you will not be disappointed by just how cozy, extremely cozy they are. 4 stars for this one. The next book that I read was this book, A Case of Cat and Mouse by Sophie Kelly. This is book number 12 in the Magical Cats Cozy Mystery series, and disappointingly, this is my first hardcover that I purchased of this series that I love so much, but this book actually got the lowest rating that I've given any book in this series of 3 stars. Now, again, the series premises that we follow Kathleen Paulson, a librarian from Maryville Heights in Minnesota. Usually motivated by her magical cats, Owen and Hercules, Kathleen solves mysteries as an amateur sleuth. But in this book, a baking competition, not dissimilar to the Great Bake Off series, has come to Maryville Heights. Kathleen is hired to offer background info on the contestants, as well as background on Maryville Heights itself. However, one night when Kathleen is hanging back at the contest to finish up certain things, she spies one of the judges face down in a bowl of cream, and Kathleen knows this was no accident. So to my thoughts, I love Owen and Hercules and always will. That said, anything outside of the 2 cats just didn't work for me. I was so happy that a baking competition was included in this book, and yet the focus wasn't really on the contest, but more the behind the scenes stuff. It felt like a wasted opportunity to me personally. Also, by the time the killer was revealed, I was already over the book, so it's sad given how much I absolutely loved book 11. I will definitely read book 13, but for book number 12, sadly, I gave this one an average rating of 3 stars. So the next cozy that I picked up was this one, Firecracker, which is book number 5 in the An Essie Cobb Senior Sleuth Cozy Mystery series. And despite the fact that Essie herself has 4 stars on her jumper, her nice sweater there, I actually gave this book 5 stars. And I cannot highly recommend this series enough. I just don't see it talked about on booktube, even in cozy circles. But if you are a fan of elderly people in your cozy mysteries, you cannot go past this series. It is available on ebook, physical book, audio book, and it is just so much fun. It is a lighter cozy series compared to your standard cozies or grittier cozies, in that all of the mysteries do not revolve around a murder or someone dying. They revolve around something a little lighter than that, but it is still an amazing cozy mystery series that I do very highly recommend, and I'm enjoying my time so much with the series. I really don't want it to come to an end, and I'm glad that I've got so many more to go with this one. So the series premise of this one is that we follow Essie Cobb and her friends Marjorie, Opal, and Faye, octogenarians who live in Happy Haven, a retirement home for the elderly. Together, all 4 octogenarians make for amazing amateur sleuths, and they very much remind me of the characters from the Golden Girls TV show. Imagine them 10 years later living in a retirement home just with different names. So much fun. Now in this book, the upcoming 4th of July fireworks has inspired competitions, and so Essie asks her grandson Ned to come down and assist her. However, later on, when everyone goes outside to see the fireworks, Essie is saved by a heroic elderly gentleman who tackles her to the ground and takes the brunt of the loose firework in his backside. But is there more to it than the firework just being rogue? Essie Cobb and her friends are on the case. So to my thoughts, I love this series so much. It definitely feels like what I imagine Golden Girls would be 10 years in the future, with all the Golden Girls living together in a nursing home. The mystery was very intriguing, and I have a soft spot for Essie's grandson Ned, who seems to just want the best for his grandma. Truly enjoyed this book, as I have all the books in the series so far, and I gave it an overwhelming 5 stars. And again, I'm going to highly recommend this series to you all. If you are a fan of cozy mysteries, if you're a fan of elderly people in your cozy mysteries, I think you will really enjoy this series. It has not led me astray at this point, and I am so thankful that I don't even remember how I came across it, to be honest, but I'm so thankful that I did, because it's just been an amazing journey for me reading it for I think half of the year. I think I started in like June or July, and I've been reading 1 book a month, and yeah, really, really, really enjoying it. So I do highly recommend it. 5 stars from me. So I did have 3 other books that I planned to read that were cozy mysteries in the month of October. However, I wasn't going to put pressure on myself to get to them. They were spares. If I didn't get to them, it would be totally fine. Not only did I get to the first spare, I also got to the second spare, and then I even had time for the third spare, so I did complete those books that were in my spares category, and the first of those is this book, Horses and Other Hazards. This is by Alex Wagner, and it is book number 5 in the A Case for the Master Sleuth Cozy Mystery series. Now, the series premise for this one is that we follow Athos, an Alaskan Malamute, who travels all over Europe with his kitten friend Pearl, who's right there, and their human Victoria. Now, in this book, Victoria is staying with an animal psychologist, Hermine, her fiancé, and his adult children. It makes sense, after all. Victoria was a psychologist of humans, and she's becoming more and more suspicious about Athos and Pearl's way of assisting with mysteries. It seems Hermine's fiance's children do not like her at all. However, does she not like them? This question is brought to the forefront when one of the adult children is found murdered. Then another one is found murdered days later. Athos and Pearl are thrilled that Hermine has a parrot, Egon, who not only can speak to them, but also to the humans. However, Egon is stubborn and doesn't want to help the daft dog and daft cat. But when Egon's human, Hermine, seems to be in danger, will Egon change his mind? So to my thoughts, I enjoyed this book a lot more than book 4 in the series, and so therefore will continue on with the series. I love Athos and Pearl as animal amateur sleuths, and the addition of Egon really made this book for me. I thought the mystery was very intriguing, and there weren't too many characters in the book, which made it easier to follow, so I really did appreciate that, Alex Wagner, thank you. I called the killer about 2/3 of the way through, but was still happy with the reveal. A good book, and I am looking forward to book number 6, and I gave this one 4 stars. And so the next cozy mystery that I read was this book, Four Leaf Cleaver by Maddie Day. This is book number 11, I believe. Yes, 11 in the Country Store Cozy Mystery series. Now, the series premise for this one is that we follow Robbie Jordan, who runs a part B&B, part country store, and part diner in Southlake in Indiana. Now, in this particular book, Robbie's Robbie's Diner, Pans and Pancakes, is playing host to a one-off cooking competition inspired by St. Patrick's Day, which will not only be televised, but Robbie, as Pans and Pancakes owner, has been thrust into the hosting role by the production company. Before the show can even get off the ground, however, the producer, Tara Moore, is found dead in her B&B room upstairs. Robbie is on the case to work out what is going on here. So to my thoughts, and so honestly, there isn't much to add that I haven't already said about the series, and I am very happy that I'm close to being up to date. I have 2 more books to read, and then I'll be completely up to date with this series as a whole. I love Robbie as our main character sleuth. Despite being 20-something, in my headcanon, she's actually in her late 70s, which is more thanks to the amazing audio narrator, Laurel Merlington, who, Laurel Merlington, I need to listen to more of your works. I love you as an audiobook narrator. I know not everyone is a fan of her, but I just think her voice, it lends itself so perfectly to the cozy mystery genre. You can't help but feel you're definitely listening to a cozy mystery audiobook when Laurel Merlington is audio narrating. So I really do appreciate her as a narrator, especially for this genre. I love elderly characters in my cozies, so the headcanon does work for me that she is 70, despite Maddie Day, I'm sure, protesting, and she would debate me saying, no, she's 27, but anyway, or whatever she is. She's 70, and I'm sticking with it. She's a grandma for me. Even though she's definitely not a grandma, but, you know, grandma. She's an elderly woman, you know, octogenarian age, or close up to denarian, whatever it is. Anyway, in saying that, I also love Abe, who is the love interest, and I also have a soft spot for Abe's son, Sean. The relationship the three of them have is classically beautiful. In saying that, oftentimes the mysteries in this series don't work for me, and this one was the same. I felt like things went off the rail a little, and there was something shady that happened that wasn't even addressed. Oh yeah. Now that I'm reading that, I'm remembering what happened. Which made me think it was a red herring, but why wasn't it addressed, or left out? Yeah. So, we had a moment where I can say this without saying a character name because it won't be a spoiler because it meant nothing. We had a character who received a parcel in a mysterious way, and the character was being very shady about the parcel and then went into a different room to open the parcel, and we didn't see the parcel getting open. So in my mind, I'm going, okay, this is a big clue. This character's being so shady. They're opening it in the other room. What the heck did they get? Is this to do with the murder? Is someone blackmailing this character? Or is this character the murderer? Who knows? And it was never addressed again. I'm thinking, hang on. This is a really good red herring, clearly, because it meant nothing, and yet it really felt like it meant something. But anyway. There was also gay and drag representation in this book, which I must admit I really appreciated. Yeah, really love that. There was a discussion that Robbie ends up having with this gay guy, and yeah, just really interesting. And then she has to go to a drag bar as part of her sleuthing, and she hadn't been to a drag bar before. And Robbie wasn't exactly judging drag queens or anything. She was just saying, I've never been to one before. So she was interested and intrigued to see it, and she ended up loving it. And I just thought it was really great to have that representation in this series, because I hadn't come across that in this series before, any gay characters or any drag queens or anything like that. So I really, really appreciated that. Otherwise, the mystery, as I said, was once again a massive letdown. My rating is based on an amazing cozy side, including Robbie, but a horrible, to my mind, mystery. So I end up giving it an average rating of 3 stars. And therefore the final cozy mystery that I read, and therefore final book that I read for the month of October 2025, was this book, Killer Karaoke by Hope Callahan. This is book number 7 in the cruise ship cozy mystery series, and I gave this book 4 stars. I'm halting as I'm trying to say the series title name, because I thought this was the Millie cruise ship cozy mystery series, but it's not. This is the cruise ship cozy mystery series. Apparently, there are 2 different series that involve Millie. One of them is called Millie's Cruise Ship, and this one is just called Cruise Ship. So there you go. But anyway, yeah, I gave this book 4 stars. I was reading this series up to a certain point, then I picked up this book many months ago, and I ended up DNFing it, because I was just kind of getting over the series a bit. But honestly, I enjoyed this book. I had left enough space and time between the last time I picked it up and now, and so I gave it 4 stars. So in this series, we follow Millie, an assistant cruise director on the Siren of the Seas, with her love interest Captain Armadi and his dog, a teacup Yorkie named Scout. Now in this book, one of the ship's electrical engineers is found dead, and Millie's boss Andy seems to be the prime suspect for the murder. But everyone knows Andy couldn't have done this, so Millie and her cabin mate Danielle come together to get to the bottom of the case. So to my thoughts, I thought the book was solid. I loved spending time with Millie on the cruise ship. I find this theme very different for a cozy theme, being on a cruise ship, and it works so well in this series. Millie as a character is so sweet, and everyone knows how much I love my elderly characters in my cozies, so Millie works for me on multiple levels. The mystery wasn't one that intrigued me, and I think that's because we literally jump right into the murder in the first chapter without even getting to know the victim a little. I found the process of gaining clues to be more interesting than the actual murder itself, and I think that's where Callahan lacked. Part of me wants to solve the murder in my cozies, another part of me wants to care about the person that was murdered. And so when you don't devote enough time for me to at least even a little bit get to know the victim, then aside from a very generalized, oh, you poor thing, you died, there's a lack of care on my end, because I'm not invested. I don't know you. So, you know, it's more like, oh, it sucks that this person died. No one deserves to die, but why, what pulls me in to be so invested in trying to solve this when I don't know them? Does that make sense? But if I don't know, the person, then I obviously don't feel that connection. All in all, it was a solid read. So, based mainly for the cozy side, which I really do love spending time on the ship. And I think it's worth sometimes for me letting go of the fact that I may not like certain mysteries in cozies to just enjoy the cozy side. And based on the cozy side for this book, I did give it 4 stars because I love spending time on the Siren of the Seas. And so, yeah, I'm sure there are many other cruise ship cozies out there. One day I will try them too, but this being my first cruise ship cozy mystery series, I'm having a lot of fun with that cozy element being the cruise ship itself. And now for everyone's favourite game that we like to call Up. These are all the cozy mysteries that I read in the month of October 2025. Once again, just reminding all of you, if you would like to see the rest of the books that I read in 2025, you can check out part 1 of my October monthly wrap, where I discuss all the books that I read in the month of October that were not cozy mysteries. Yeah, many more videos still to come your way. I have a vlog coming out on the 7th, so not too far away, so we can start discussing what I have been reading in the month of November. But in the meantime, how was your October reads? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, as I always say, I'll let you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another. And spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading!